In this video, we'll break down the NFL Week 8 on the main slate for DraftKings and FanDuel as we prepare full cash lineups on both sites. And it's coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Eric, before we get right into it, it is a special day. Someone's a little bit older today. I want to wish you a happy birthday. Congratulations, making another year.
Yes. Can you believe it? I'm not going to say my age. I'm going to just lie and say 39. All right, but I'll tell you, this NFL is pretty crazy. You got Davante Adams losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 weeks in a row. So let's see if we can bounce back after a horrible Jaden Daniels injury, who was one of our core players in our matchup last week. After he ran for 55 yards, looked like he was en route to a great game. They scored a ton of points. What do we got this week for core players?
Well, we're going to start with a workhorse who's got a wonderful matchup going up against the New England Patriots. It's Breece Hall, 7,300 on DraftKings, 7,900 on FanDuel. Hey, New England this year, 31st against running backs, 30th ranked defense this year overall. Kind of surprising to say that out loud. And what do you want on both DraftKings and FanDuel? You want a workhorse who gets all the touches. And, hey, sorry, Robert Saleh, to see you go, but it was one of the best things for Breece Hall. Hey, he's a special talent. He needs to be utilized, and he's going to get more utilized, as we saw this last week. And so that's what you're getting with Breece Hall, and I like that price for Breece Hall.
Our second core player, again, a player that we like, they're both their DraftKings and FanDuel prices, and is in our cash lineup on both sites, is Javonte Williams. $6,000 on DraftKings and the same $6,000 on FanDuel. Folks, on the Denver Broncos, Williams is undoubtedly the lead back. In 3 of the last 4 games, he has 18, and 17 touches. What happened in the one game that he didn't get a lot of touches? That was against the LA Chargers, and they fell behind by 20 points by halftime. That's not likely to happen this week because Denver is actually at home and they're favored by 8.5 points. If you're still alive in Survivor, here's your Survivor pick. Pick the Broncos. They have a great implied total of 26, and they're playing the 32nd, that's dead last, ranked rush defense and defense against running backs and both FanDuel and DraftKings scoring. Love Williams at this price.
Yeah, I watched that game a little bit. He looked great, kind of back to some of his old form. And I can't believe he's got that price on FanDuel. So for the wide receiver position, taking advantage of the fact that this guy is still a little bit underpriced, arguably tied for number 1 or 1.5, guy now on the Cincinnati Bengals. He's 6,500 on DraftKings and $7,500 on FanDuel. That's T. Higgins, who's been getting almost 10 targets a game this season, and with a now kind of smoothly running offense, going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, who've been the 22nd pass-ranked defense, 31st against wide receivers. Got to take advantage of that, and a little bit lower price tag for a guy who has nice floor and a lot of upside.
All right, another guy around that same price range is our fourth core player. It's Brian Thomas, wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. $6,400 on DraftKings and almost an identical price on FanDuel at $6,500. Look, this guy is a rookie wide receiver, but as the season has progressed, he has clearly become the number 1 wide receiver on this Jaguar team. He leads the team in receptions, in targets, in receiving yards, and receiving TDs. Michael, I don't know if there's anything else to do for a wide receiver, but if there was, Brian Thomas would be doing that too, as far as being on the Jaguars. He's clearly developed a rapport with Trevor Lawrence, and he's simply too cheap at this price, given the fact that he's playing at home and he's playing against an average at best Green Bay defense.
Hey, folks, quick plug. If you haven't yet, smash that like button, comment in the comment sections. We want to hear from you. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Should we go ahead and go into DraftKings and see if we're going to do the rest of the lineup?
Sounds great. Let's do it. Go to it.
Hey, Eric, here we are on DraftKings. We got 23,800 available to us, so a little less than 4,800 per player. Well, I'm going to spend some of that right out of the gate and get ourselves a running back at $7,700 going up against the Indianapolis Colts from the Houston Texans. It's Joe Mixon. He's got an implied total this week, as a heavy favorite of 26 through the Texans, and going up against a team that's been 21st against running backs. Hey, Joe Mixon, when he has been healthy, is averaging 100 yards a game, a touchdown a game. And he's getting involved a little bit in the passing game as well. So, I think he's been more than we all expected with this trade or this move for him, which I think has been very good for him. And $7,700 price tag here on DraftKings for a guy who does get involved in the passing game feels like a pretty good price for a favorite at home. I think this bodes pretty well for Joe Mixon.
Michael, they lean on him so much. 30 carries, 25 carries. Is a guy from the Soviet Union? Because I've never seen anyone Russian so much. Oh my, it's my birthday, folks. Come on, give me a break. All right, so I am going to go at quarterback. And you know what? If you would have asked me 4 or 5 weeks ago that this guy would only be $5,800, you wouldn't believe it. At $5,800, let's get in Anthony Richardson in the lineup. Now, look, if you're going to point out to me, hey, Eric, he really struggled last week. I get it. I know that he struggled last week. He was playing the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have a pretty good defense, but more importantly, without Tua, the Dolphins have a terrible offense. Therefore, the Colts had a very conservative game plan. They didn't open it up, but look, this week, they play the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud. There is no doubt in my mind that the Texans are going to put points on the board against the Colts, which is going to force Anthony Richardson to have to throw the ball to keep up. And look, we know about his dual role, right? Look, he has a game under his belt coming back from his injury, and he rushed the ball 14 times as a quarterback. You got to love that. I think given his price, Michael, he's well worth it.
Definitely so. Well, we got to save some money thanks to some of the spending that we've done. And one place to always look is folks who played on Monday night who are getting, kind of not getting credit for what happened on Monday night. And so I'm going to go to that Cleveland game, that horrible Cleveland team whose 32nd defense in the league. Can we believe that the 32nd defense in the league is the Cleveland Browns? And get Rashad Bateman. So if you watch this game on Monday night, and he's 4,300. Sorry, Eric, $4,300. It's shocking that he's at this price based on how good he looked and how much of a rapport he had with Lamar Jackson. He's basically turned into the number one target guy for Lamar Jackson, at least this last couple of weeks. So, seemed like this is a really nice floor for a guy at this price.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the Zay Flowers injury, right? I mean, Zay Flowers is the normal number one wide receiver, but he got hurt last week. So, he might be out this coming week, or he might be hampered. Given that, I love this pick of Rashad Bateman. And speaking of injuries, Michael, let's go to tight end. And we only have 6,000 total. So, we got to go dumpster diving at tight end, which means we're going to get just an awful tight end, right? Wrong. At $3,500, we get Cade Otton, a guy who is at home and who should be, who is a favored, good, solid implied total. But most importantly, it's who is injured on this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. Chris Godwin is out, unfortunately, for the year. Mike Evans is going to be out for a couple of weeks. I think Cade Otton may be Mayfield's favorite target. Look what he did last week. just with Evans out a lot of the game. 8 catches on 10 targets for 100 yards. Now, I get it. They were playing from behind, and Mayfield was throwing the ball all over the place. But this, again, could be a high-scoring game. $3,500 is an absolute criminally low price for Cade Otton. Glad to get him in our lineup.
Yeah, good price. So you're leaving me a whopping, what, $2,500 for defense. So let's get one that's not quite that low. Hey, Buffalo is playing Seattle. And so, Buffalo's tough on defenses. Seattle's actually been pretty serviceable. I think they're 10th in sacks this year. So to me, that's the best option we have available to us at this price. They'll sack the quarterback, and guess what? Guess who can hold on to that ball just a little bit too long? Josh Allen. So I think this is a pretty good round out of our lineup, and pretty excited about it.
All right, so that's DraftKings. Now let's switch over to FanDuel and see how we complete that lineup on that site. All right, with our 4 players that we already have in the lineup, we can spend about $6,400 per player. And Michael, I'm going to get a legitimate star in our lineup. He hasn't been playing like a star. So therefore, at $7,600, we get a ridiculous bargain with Tyreek Hill. Now, hear me very clearly, folks. This is under the stipulation that Tua does come back and is named the starting quarterback. As we're filming, it looks like all indications is he is going to play, because Hill is simply a different player without Tua. I couldn't believe it, Michael. I was listening to the game. Waddle and Hill, midway through the third quarter, did not have a reception last week. That's just absolutely criminal. You know what Hill can do, both with short passes and making long gains with a run after the catch and with the deep bombs. Tua has the ability to get him the ball in what I expect to be a real high-scoring affair at Miami against Arizona. Happy to get Hill in the lineup.
Yep, no, you're not going to see those prices if Tua comes back and is healthy. So at the running back position, I'm going to spend a little bit of money myself, but a guy who's been a clear number one when he's been healthy, he's at $7,800. That is Kenneth Walker Jr. Hey, let's face it, you think, well, Buffalo, they might not be playing from ahead. Guess who's been one of the worst defenses against running backs this year? It's been Buffalo. That's where they're porous. This year, it's at the running back position. You've got to utilize it. And, look what Kenneth Walker has done when healthy. Not only does he get a lot of touches, but he gets very heavily involved in the passing game, scores on average touchdown a game, almost 100 yards a game in these games that he's been healthy. He's an absolute, kind of talent and huge for this team. A nice floor, a lot of upside at $7,800. Really like this pick.
All right, I'm going to go to tight end. And at $5,500, welcome back from injury. So excited to get David Njoku at $5,500 in the lineup. So there's a couple of reasons at $5,500 that I like Njoku so much. One reason is Deshaun Watson is gone. Deshaun Watson is not playing good football. And 2, he doesn't target his tight end very much. But with Jameis Winston, I'm hoping Jameis Winston actually gets the start here. Man, he's going to throw the ball all over the place, including to his tight end. The other thing that I like is, who else is gone off this team? Amari Cooper. He's now in Buffalo. So I don't think it's very far-fetched to say he is the number one target on this team. Just look what he did last week. A huge game. So if you guys watch what we did on DraftKings, I tend to think that we got 2 star tight ends who are the number one targets at really bargain basement prices. Happy to get Njoku.
Yeah, no, I really like this price. Can't believe he's there. Allows us to spend a little bit of money at the quarterback position. Thank you for that. But we can't spend top dollar. But hey, I know it looks like he's going up against one of the best defenses in the league against quarterbacks. Well, that's because Kyler Murray at $7,800. That's partly because of what we've been talking about. The Dolphins have just not been good offensively, and so teams have been able to play conservatively. Well, I don't think that can continue to happen, and they haven't been that strong against the pass. So, Kyler Murray obviously gives you a fair amount of upside with his legs. He's been using them all season long. Doesn't have necessarily the receiving core, but I'd like to see him use Marvin Harrison Jr. a little bit more. Hey, let's face it, he's got a nice floor at this price. Also has some upside going against a Miami pass defense that has not been that great this year. So, Eric, you got a little bit of money left. What are you going to do with it?
Okay, after you just rip Miami like that, I guess the team that I'm going to pick, because we don't have much money at 3,400. Look, I'm not picking Cleveland. Lord knows I'm not picking Carolina. So when you look at the options, I think Miami's the best option. So we're going to pick the home team, Miami Dolphins. Again, it's cash. It's okay to have your defense go against your quarterback in the same lineup. If this was GPP, I would not recommend it. You want correlated players, and a quarterback and a defense are not correlated. So as we look at this full lineup, Michael, I really like it, especially our running backs. Breece Hall, Ken Walker, and Javonte Williams. Do you notice the defenses they're going up against? 30th ranked, 31st ranked, and 32nd ranked against running backs. Again, I think this lineup depends so heavily on Tua coming back, and that we think Tua will be, a huge improvement of what they had, because if Tua plays well, Tyreek Hill will play well, and it will make Kyler Murray play well. So any final comments about this lineup?
No, I really like it, and I just want to wish you happy birthday again, Eric. Congratulations.
Feel free to do so in the comments as well. But of course, put what you like in FanDuel and DraftKings so we can hear what your thoughts are in Week 8. Until we come back to Week 9, Michael, Week 9 marks the end of Week 9, marks the halfway part of the season. We've got some things planned for you after Week 9, so stay tuned. Some fun stuff we're going to do to mark the halftime of the regular season. Until then, take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. We'll put 2 videos up that we think you'll enjoy.